cool. It's a difficult one to know where to start, really. I think the easy summary, so that we can get into the questions, is that they started off incredibly bright. We looked flat and really not at the right type of mentality or pace needed to obviously stay in the game, and it looked like the game was going to get away from us. A dead ball goal and an electric strike from Randall keeps us in the game. And the second half looked completely different. There was a different focus, mentality, attitude. The only question, obviously, is, are the goals going to come? And they did. I'm delighted that we've obviously added the 3 points. We've clinched. Just as importantly, away from home, we've added some goals to the board, which has been difficult in recent games. So all in all, an incredible night. Certainly wasn't how I imagined it would unfold.
Thank you, Gary. We will open the floor to questions. We'll first start with Drake Hilson, Tennessee, and then we'll go to Tim Sullivan. Drake, go ahead.
Gary, what do you make of the fashion that you guys have clinched tonight? The fact that it was 3-1 down, then Randall gets the one, right before halftime. I mean, how do you see the way you guys have bounced back? Is it more of a, okay, let's hurry up and get down to Orlando, or is there something more meaningful about the way you guys came back tonight?
Yeah, look, if you look back over history in all sports, it's not always the case that the game, the fight, the match goes the way that you would write it down on a script. Plenty of times we've seen good fighters come back from a beating in the opening rounds to win the fight by knockout late in the fight. And I, use that analogy that we started off poorly. They were better than us. They looked brighter than us, but we've shown incredible character to win the game the hard way. The easier way would have been to keep a clean sheet, to have started a little bit stronger, and then to have warmed into it and maybe overpowered Cincinnati. But it wasn't to be. What we've seen again tonight is that this side has a lot more to it than just the industry and determination and balance that we know we have. We've added goals again tonight. We've seen a different side to a lot of these players. Ake scored, assisted. Great to have him on the sheet, and hopefully we can round into a bit of form in his last two games, including this one, and take us into the playoffs in a nice frame of mind.
Go ahead, Tim. I'll go back to Drake.
Hey, Gary, you kind of alluded to it there, but kind of a very different type of game than you guys are used to playing. What does it say about you guys that you can give up a season high in goals and come back and score a club record number to earn what was ultimately a somewhat comfortable win?
Yeah, would I want that to be happening every week? No. But at this point in the season, there were two all-important factors tonight. The first one was that we win the game, and we've done that. The second one, when we prepared for this, was to change the shape a little bit, add a more attacking look to it, try and be more aggressive. But in doing so, we opened the game up a little bit more, as you well do. And that in the end has served us well. It just didn't come about in the right, what I would class as the right way. But look, there's always going to be some difficult results, some strange results, some up and down performances due to pressure or people peaking and dipping at the right and wrong times. There's so much going on leading into the post-season. We can only concentrate, of course, on ourselves. We found a new way to win a game. I'm delighted. There's a lot to talk about tomorrow and Friday towards the Orlando game, but to have clinched for our second year, two seasons, the history of the club looks good already. The foundations are strong. The progression of this group has been great, and we can, be excited about what comes next.
We'll go to Drake, then we'll go to Ben Wright. Go ahead, Drake.
Gary, what do you tell Dave and Walker and just the central defense after a game like that, especially with the first half and the way that went? Is that something where you are just saying, look, throw away that first half tape, we're on to something better and more focused? Or are you trying to have a a chance of learning lessons there.
But there are a couple of things that changed tonight that can always be a little bit difficult for the back line. I, of course, took a defender out and put an attacker in. We're back to a back four. The dynamics of that change a little bit again. They played with a front pairing, which I suspected they might. But nevertheless, slightly different start positions, slightly different relationships. And then add into that Daniel Lovitz is playing his first game in 3 or 4 weeks. And you suddenly saw a little bit of indecision and a lack of cohesion in that back line, which is very, very unnatural for the group. We as I've said, we found a way to combat that and get through it and to ultimately win the game. But certainly things to consider, some stuff to look at and even work on. But all in all, a wonderful recovery.
Go ahead, Ben, then we'll go to Tim.
Yeah, Gary, just kind of after a couple games with probably less goal scoring than you would have liked, just how do you feel seeing 6 goals scored like that? And kind of a second part, how important do you think it is for Ake to get a 45-minute shift like that with kind of the core group and get a goal and an assist?
Well, there was some decent things to come out of the weekend in the hour that he played, and I've said it multiple times. I'm trying to get the right balance to integrate in the group, to keep his confidence moving. To make sure that an important player to us is continually progressing and he's not regressing. So happy for him to score. Not an easy goal. I know one-on-one with the goalkeeper, everyone will say, well, okay, he should have a great chance. But there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of time to, he's got to be very calculated with what and how he's going to execute. As far as the goals go, wonderful to see CJ getting back himself a couple. Randall's 2 strikes were phenomenal. The first one, that comes onto him fairly straight on the volley, he managed to control exceptionally well. And the second goal, there's a huge amount to do, of course. Not a lot of the goal to see. Look, through 45 minutes, if we'd have had this interview, I'd have been saying to you, look, I'm not happy. We conceded 3 goals, could have been 4. We're in dire straits. But it's amazing how games can turn on their head. It's down to attitude, application. Of course, there was a little bit of a change and maybe a slightly even more aggressive look to the group. But I've got to say, it was really about the attitude of the players. There wasn't an awful lot else that was really going wrong. I thought we started a little bit too flat, maybe a little bit too complacently, and we got punished by some very, very good players. And as much as you want to say to any group, look, please don't look at the league table, just have a little look at what they're capable of. It's hard internally and subconsciously not to be saying we should be winning this, because the reality is we should be winning this. So really, really pleased, excited, delighted, lots of emotions that I would not have been feeling at halftime.
We'll go to Tim, then we'll wrap up with Drake. Thanks. Let's go, Tim.
Hey, Gary, obviously not the way that you want to have Joe involved, but what does it say about him after having Brenner put the 1 penalty past him to have the composure on that attempted Panenka and make the save there?
Well, look, first of all, it's not an easy decision for any goalkeeper to make, just to stand still with the goal gaping. I think I'd like to put it down to Joe's experience. He's nobody's fault for sure. He's looking at the run-up. He may well have, just seen something in the boys' approach to the ball that made him feel, look, I'm going to take that chance. And in the end, I think that's what goalkeepers are doing. They're taking a chance to make a save one way or the other. And he took a chance to stand still. I mean, in the end, the choice from the young lads is not a good one because he doesn't score. But for us, it keeps us in the game. It galvanises the group again. It was hugely frustrating to see the 3rd goal go in and the way that came about. But let's look at the positives. 6 goals, 3 points.
Go ahead, Drake.
Gary, this is win number 12, so that's tying your career high in terms of wins in a regular season. I'm curious to know how, like, the fact that it came about in this way and that you still have 2 regular season matches to go. I'm curious of your thoughts.
The records like that, Jake, honestly, until you told me, I think I'd heard somewhere, way back that there were, X amount of games that might equal a winning record for me. Or quite honestly, the main focus of any team, of any coach, is to be in that postseason. The second focus is going to be, do we go into the postseason with some confidence and some belief and some momentum? We still have that to achieve, but to clinch, 2 games to go, to get back to that second spot, to be staring down the barrels of a possible home tie. There's still a lot of work to be done to achieve that, though, I might add. And I'm sure over the next couple of games, there'll be some results that we look at again, maybe even one of our own, that we look at and go, well, that was unexpected, but hopefully for the right reasons for us. Those sort of stats are nice to hear at the end of the year. The fact that we've clinched means far more to me than maybe any personal record.
Ake, how relieved are you to finally get that first goal after it seemed close a couple times and then after a number of appearances finally happened?
Sí, ¿cómo te sentís? Ya un poco de presión menos, tanto que has estado cerca del primer gol y por fin te llega hoy. De verdad me sentí muy bien y tenemos la mentalidad clara de ganar este partido y yo entré con esa misma mentalidad de hacer el primer gol y por fin ya logramos. He says, I felt very good. As a team, I could tell we all had the mentality to go and score a bunch of goals. And from the moment I came on, I had the mindset of scoring, and thankfully it came.
Go ahead, Drake.
Okay, when you think of your hard work you've put in the training ground since coming to Nashville, and now it's finally paid off, how does it feel? And what was it like in the locker room?
Dice que cuando pensás de todo el trabajo que haces en el entrenamiento y por fin te llega el primer gol, cómo se siente esa sensación y también cómo estuvo el sentido todo en el vestuario, la atmósfera, todo. De verdad, me siento muy feliz porque hace mucho tiempo que esperaba este gol y por fin ya lo logramos y lo logré también con mis compañeros y con el trabajo también del equipo, ¿no? Entonces me siento feliz y aquí el ambiente está muy bien con mis compañeros y todo es feliz. I feel great. It's a lot of hard work that we put in as a team, so it's a good time to come into the game and be able to help the team. It's a team effort. As you can imagine, the atmosphere has been wonderful since we've been back in, so I'm just very, very happy.
We'll next go to Claudio Villalobos, and then we'll go to Ben Wright. Go ahead, Claudio.
Thank you, Matt. ¿Qué tan difícil fue estar sentado en la banca y ver lo que estaba pasando en el primer tiempo, cuando en realidad pudo haber sido peor? ¿Qué se sentía? Porque el equipo siempre responde, ya lo había hecho, lo ha hecho muchas veces, hoy lo haces definitivamente de una manera extraordinaria, pero estar sentado allí esperando y después tener que entrar a hacer lo que hiciste en el caso tuyo y en el equipo, ¿cuál es la diferencia en cada tiempo?
Yo creo que es una mentalidad y el entrenador sabe lo que hace, ¿no? El equipo ahorita está bien y los jugadores que empiezan ya meten goles y ahora son su tiempo. Y ahora estoy en la banca porque los que están jugando a mi puesto ya están jugando muy bien y hacen goles, pero en mi caso tengo siempre la mentalidad clara por hacer lo que tengo que hacer. Y me tocó hoy ayudar al equipo y gracias a Dios sí pude ayudar al equipo y todo y me siento muy feliz.
We'll next go to Ben Wright and then Tim Sullivan. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering what was going through your mind just watching the first half and then going into the game at halftime. What were you thinking and what did Gary Smith tell you?
Pregunta que vos estás observando el partido, estás viendo el partido, qué es lo que pensás y también cuál fue tu mentalidad cuando entraste a esa idea que efectivamente querías estar viendo. Creo que en el primer tiempo fue un poco complicado por el equipo porque el equipo con la que jugamos no tenía nada que perder y nosotros teníamos la presión. Entonces fue más complicado para nosotros porque jugaron muy bien en el primer tiempo. Y en mi caso, yo como tengo siempre la mentalidad clara, ayudar al equipo. Si podemos ayudar y si no, pues pasa lo que pasa, estamos, ¿no? Entonces, tenía la cabeza muy tranquila y intentar ayudar también al equipo.
In the first half, it was obvious that Cincinnati, they have nothing to play for, and it was very noticeable, so we struggled with that. As I come on, I just wanted to help the team. Luckily, that was able to work out, and we were able to come out with a good result.
We'll wrap up today's session with Ake Loba with Tim Sullivan. Go ahead, Tim.
Ake, how has your chemistry been building with your teammates, especially CJ and Hani, and what is that going to provide you guys as you go into the playoffs?
¿Cómo tu relación con CJ, Hani, los atacantes? ¿Cómo ha sido tu relación con ellos, entrenando, jugando? ¿Y cómo ves las relaciones a corto plazo? Primero, digo que son muy buenos jugadores y afuera del campo son también muy buena gente y todos. Y hablando del fútbol, yo creo que son jugadores que pueden aportar más al equipo. Y conmigo también esta relación fue muy bien y vamos a seguir apenas llego, ¿no? Entonces vamos a ver con el tiempo y todo y creo que esta relación va a funcionar muy bien.
Yeah, first of all, they're tremendous people outside the pitch, but even on the pitch, they're great players. I know I've just come here, but my relationship with them on the field is getting way better. And so we just keep looking to progress in every game, every training session, so we can just all help the team collectively.